Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Other Ranting Atheist. It's not the only one out there. Really happy about that. So, what will I be ranting about today? Well, I was just listening to a live stream by Alice Iders, and I forget, he's somewhere in Florida, street region. And he was just talking about a scripture that says that you can serve God and mammon, or the devil, or however you want to put it. And I was just thinking about it, and I was like, why? Why is it that you can't serve God and the devil? Like, what's making that an impossible thing? Is it something you can't do merely because God says you can't do it, or is it like a contradiction? And because you can't break logical contradictions, it's impossible. Now, uh, if I ask a question that question, I'm pretty sure they'll go with the second option that I presented, saying that's a logical contradiction. You can't do things that are logically contradictory. So, by serving God, since God is the opposite of the devil, God's good and the devil's bad, you can't serve good and bad. So, by serving good, you're not serving bad, and by serving bad, you're not serving good. If I was still a Christian, I'm pretty sure that's the excuse that I would make as to why you can't serve the devil and God. But I was thinking about it, and I was wondering why. Because God Himself is a contradiction. I mean, the example of the Trinity, God can't be three and one at the same time. That's a contradiction. Jesus can't. Jesus is somehow man and God at the same time, which is two diametrically opposed natures. That's a contradiction. But for some reason, Christians still believe in the hypostatic union and the Trinity, despite the fact that those theological concepts are contradictory by nature. So, in a world where the Christian God exists, logical contradictions aren't necessarily unbreakable because God Himself, His very nature, breaks those things. So, in a world where that Christian God exists, we know it's possible for logical contradictions to be broken because God Himself breaks them. So then, why can't we? Why, if God can be man, 100% man and 100% God, despite the fact that that gives Him uh, that allows Him to contain two different contradictory natures, and God can be three and one at the same time, allowing Him to hold two contradictory natures. And I don't understand why we can't do something. Being in the image of God, if His very nature is contradictory and we are made in the image of God, then why can't we also break the laws of logic? That just kind of doesn't make sense. But I mean, lots of things in the Bible doesn't make sense. It was just something that I was thinking about as to why we cannot break the laws of logic, but God can. I mean, you could say, well, God is powerful enough to break the laws of logic, but the thing is, the laws of logic that God breaks is His very nature. It's not like He's doing something that's breaking the laws of logic, even though that's what miracles are. But God's very nature breaks the laws of logic. And if we're made in the image of God and God's nature breaks the laws of logic, then we are made in the image of a person whose very nature breaks the laws of logic, which means that if our very nature doesn't break the laws of logic, then we should at least be able to do things that themselves break the laws of logic, since we're made in the image of someone whose very nature breaks the laws of logic. And so I just wanted to do a short video thinking about why we can't serve God and man on the excuse of it being a logical contradiction. Now, if you just want to say that we can't do it because God says we can't do it and what He says goes, then um, that still really doesn't make sense. But I would sooner accept that excuse over it being a logical contradiction. And so I just want to do a short video kind of ranting about, logical contradictions in the Bible, which I've done before. And so I hope you enjoy my talk, and I'll see you in the next.